thanks for being here today. It's a very sombre day here at Albert, as we're hearing upstairs. Russell Ebert was God at Port Adelaide. He's obviously just arrived, and there's a little bit of a commotion upstairs. But when I think of Russell, I think of three incredible legacies: family, football, and community. Above everything else, Russell was proud of his family. His beautiful wife Di, Tammy, Ben, Brett, and their families, and his wonderful grandkids who would light up when he talked about his grandkids, and also his siblings who have, I know particularly this year, given the challenges that Russell and the family have been going through, have meant a lot to him. So first and foremost, our thoughts and condolences are with Russell's family and his extended family. Football, his record is monumental. 392 games for Port Adelaide, 25 for North Melbourne and 29 for South Australia, 446 games, 4 Magarey medals, 6 best and fairest at Port Adelaide, 3 premierships, Australian Football Hall of Fame. His record as a footballer is has no peer. But then to go on and devote best part of 40 years of his life to community and helping those people less fortunate than him is extraordinary, and passion's incredibly close to his heart. Crippled Children's into Novita, the Royal Flying Doctor Service, and then at Port Adelaide again, we've been so fortunate that Russell established our Power Community programs 20 years ago. He was ahead of his time. So the legacy that he leaves behind with his family, his football club, but also the community in South Australia is extraordinary. And as I've said, our thoughts and condolences go to his family and all the people that he has meant so much to. You think about all the players, the support staff that he had an amazing understanding of how important volunteers and all the people were, and had some very special relationships. I think about Alfie, our boot stutter, and he had an amazing relationship. And Alfie would be doing it tough today as well. So our thoughts are with all of those people, but at the same time we celebrate an amazing man. Thank you.
Richard, can you just tell us a little bit about what he was like as a mentor to the players throughout his time at the club as well?
Yeah, look, I think you'll hear a lot of players talking about that themselves. You hear the Timmy Genevers and the guys who sort of grew up idolising Russell as a legend and a hero, and all the kids wanted to be Russell Ebert. And then they had the opportunity to play with Russell or be coached by Russell. The impact that he had on all of those people was enormous. And you look at the trajectory that the club took from that point forward, and Russell had an enormous impact on that. And then when the club moved into the AFL, I heard Sean Burgoyne talking about it the other day about the impact he had just at training and being around the place. And we were lucky enough to work with Russell, being a colleague of Russell's for 20 years, and just to be able to walk into the office and have Russell Ebert there, you never ever take that for granted. He's a true legend. But the amazing thing about Russell it was never about him. It was always about other people. It was always about helping other people, or it was always what he could do to help others. It was never about him, which I think is one of the amazing things that defines him.
So many people have come down to the pub this afternoon, this morning, dropping off flowers, the pile of flowers,
yeah.
The building. That must mean a lot for the players and for everyone here to see that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a tribute to an amazing man who, he talked often about his gratitude for what the football club or what the supporters or what the community had done for him and his family. And I know that over the last few months in particular, that was something that was very much front of mind for the number of the things that he did do, where he spoke publicly, was he wanted to thank the people that had made his journey possible. He never forgot where he was from. He was always very, very proud of his roots in the Riverland and at Loxton and Waikerie. And I guess Albert Oval is a very special place for Port Adelaide people in the Port Adelaide community, and this is the place where they can thank Russell, but at the same time, they would think about the things that they shared with Russell here over the years. It was a very, very special place.
From your memories, we know, we hear a lot about how he was as a footballer, as a charitable person. What was he like as a man, as a friend to have around?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't know him as a footballer personally. I got to know him as a work colleague, and he said it as it was. He didn't mince his words for us. He knew if he wasn't happy about something. But he was just, a number of, I remember when we played in Shanghai in 2017, I think it was he came with us, it was 35 degrees and we were putting out seat cushions on each of the seats. And he did that all day, and you had to sort of stop yourself and think, oh, that's Russell Ebert putting out seat cushions on a concrete stadium in 35 degree heat. He would do anything for anyone. The way that new staff would come into the organisation and he would introduce them to Russell Ebert. He was always asking how people were. He always had time for them, and he was an incredible man.
An incredibly tough time for the family as well. I imagine the club's reached out to offer whatever support it can.
Yeah, we have. We've been in contact with the family. Clearly they're really appreciative of all the love and the support that they've received already, and over the next couple of days we'll sit down with the family and what happens from here will be completely up to them, and the football club will be here to support them in whatever way we can. I know that there's a lot of people who will want to pay their respects and acknowledge Russell for how he's helped them, and that's not just the Port Adelaide Football Club. That's the South Australian community at large, because he connected and he did so much for so many people. So I'm sure that opportunity will come over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, the talk of the state funeral, is that something you'd like to see as well, so everyone can have the opportunity to farewell Russell?
Yeah, we would. I mean, the Premier reached out to us late yesterday and made that offer to the family when they're ready to have that conversation. So again, we'll do what's best for the family. But yeah, it's terrific that the Premier and the government have reached out to offer that opportunity.
Where were you when you found out the news?
Yeah, I was here at the club. Brett actually gave me a call, and I'd actually, Russ had. I'd spoken with Russ most weeks, actually. He gave me a call on Monday morning. I looked at my phone this morning, 9:17 Monday morning. I had a call from Russell Ebert, and he sounded really good. He sounded the best he'd sounded for a little while. He'd had a couple of pretty busy weeks with elevation into the South Australian South Australian Sport Hall of Fame, and a couple of other things. And when I spoke to him Monday, he sounded really good. So when Brett rang me yesterday afternoon, it was a bit of a shock, like it was for a lot of people. Like a lot of people have said, I don't think it was a bit of a shock because of the timing, but I think we knew Russell wasn't well, and it was just a bit of a shock that it came yesterday.
He's got a gate named after him outside the club. Is there any thought to, obviously early stages, but naming something else at the club in his honour, perhaps the redeveloped facility or something like that?
Yeah, look, we haven't talked about anything formally, but we've got a really exciting redevelopment planned here at Albert Oval, the whole precinct, and we're looking at a part of that will be recognising, finding ways to recognise the legends of our club, and Russell absolutely would be be on that list.
How have the players been last sort of 24 hours getting around each other, and everyone's managing okay?
Yeah, well, I'm sure they are. I've had a number of messages from coaches and players, and they'd be connecting. I mean, the great thing about Russell was that you think about what's the perfect way to induct a player into Port Adelaide. It's to send them out in the community programs for the first 2 years with Russell Ebert. It doesn't get any better than that. So there is a generation of players here that spent their first 2 or 3 years out with Russell in schools. We've talked often about the bakeries. Russell had he was very picky about his bakeries, and that clearly is passed on to the playing group. But the players in particular that have come through when Russell has been running those community programs would I'm sure have a special connection with Russell, and not only what he means to the football club, but what he means to them.
A bit more of an American sport thing, but would there be any consideration to retiring the number 7 Guernsey?
Yeah, look, we haven't had any of those conversations yet, but yeah.
What do you see as Russell's legacy? Obviously, you touched on those 3 elements. The community programs, obviously, a significant part of his legacy. What would you describe as the legacy from him?
Well, like I said, I think it's those 3 things. It's his family, and he's so proud of his family. He's got an amazing family, and football. His legacy at the club is, he has no peer in terms of his playing record, and then. If you think about the enduring legacy, it's the role that football can play in changing and impacting people's lives, and I think that that is probably the thing that elevates Russell above any, because just the ongoing impact that he has had and will continue to have on the community, and that's our great responsibility now as the custodians at the club is continue the work that he laid the foundation for in terms of impacting the community beyond football, and using football as a powerful tool to improve people's lives.
He's obviously just been elevated, as you mentioned, to the SA Sport Hall of Fame legend. I'm not sure if you guys have already been doing this or whatnot, but would the club push at the appropriate time for him to potentially be elevated to that status in the Australian Football Hall of Fame?
Yeah, look, I think as from the Port Adelaide Football Club's point of view, Russell Ebert is already a legend of Australian football, and I'm sure that at the right time that acknowledgement will come with the Australian Football Hall of Fame as well.